All right, well, hello everyone here to our kind of a different thing that we're going to try here today. And so I'm Tim Kiefer of MIBT. So for those of you who are just joining us and didn't know about this and just happen to be live, I don't expect a lot of people to be here. Hopefully I'm wrong. But this is one of those events that I'm giving a whirl because we sent out an email about this earlier this week, and what I thought would be kind of cool is that MIBT has hundreds of searchable clips in their library, specifically for subscribers who can go in and they can search for specific topics in regards to football officiating. And how do we get those clips? How do we find the plays that we use in our weekly meetings or the plays that you may see here on our YouTube page? And we're also streaming this live on our internal page as well. I'm not looking at any of those chats or text today, just so you know, because today is more about learning the process and seeing exactly how we find those clips that we do use in our training films and our training videos and modules and whatnot. Kind of wanted to give everybody a peek to the process. And I thought it'd be kind of fun because I think it'll help you if you break down your film and your games as well as to how you want to look at this type of stuff. So just before we get started, kind of giving everybody a chance to get in there. Like I said, I do have the chat. I can see the YouTube chat over here. So that is available. Say hi if you're there or if you care. But I want to go over a couple ground rules that it's important that when we do this. The first ground rule is that the first thing, I look at games differently if I'm evaluating the crew or evaluating the game. Now, somebody might say, well, what's the difference there? Well, if a crew sends something to me or an assigner or a supervisor wants me to grade a film, then I'm going to concentrate more on the officials than I am on the game. That doesn't mean that there aren't plays that might happen that will come to my attention, and I'm just looking at the officials only. But the purpose of evaluating the crew or grading a crew is for the crew to get better, for the crew to take the feedback and use it to improve upon themselves. So today we're not really going to do that. Today is more about the game evaluation because what I like to do when I go through these games is I'm looking for plays that are going to make us all better. I'm not necessarily concerned about the officiating in general. Now, that being said, I will point out some officiating things, and we will use that in our training films, in our training modules. So we do it from time to time. But it's more about the game itself and the plays and the things that we can see that will make us better than the actual people who are officiating the game. Now, I will, if something jumps out that just isn't right mechanically or whatever, don't agree with the call, I'll point it out, but a lot of time I'm only going to point it out once, especially if it's a mechanical thing that we see over and over and over again. So if you're on the chat and you're like, hey, Tim, did you see how bad that line judge moved? Well, yeah, I saw it in the first play, and it hasn't changed at play 108. So just know this isn't to bash the officials. It's just more to kind of go through and find plays that you might see in a future MIBT broadcast. So there you go. Like I said, I talked about the chat. We're going through this and you see something you have a question on or that I might miss, like, hey, Tim, did you see that? I'm like, whoa, no, I didn't. So go ahead. I'll try to keep an eye on that as we move through. I'm also going to be writing down the times because this is my way. I haven't seen this film. I haven't seen this game. It's completely new to me. I don't know anything that happened. I don't know good, bad, or indifferent. This could take 20 minutes or this could take 2 hours. It just depends on how many plays are in the game that are of interest. So I'm going to be chatting down or writing down times so I can go back and pull these clips later, and then I'll know exactly what to do once it's time to do that. And now, remember, the other thing is it's just plays. It's not a full running game like a broadcast game. It's kind of like a huddle thing or where you just get the play. So that's a nice thing is we'll be able to move through plays pretty quickly. And the other thing I want to talk about is that a good one is holding. All right, holding is in other calls. they need to rely on the camera angle to kind of confirm it. And if I see something and I go on, and you'll hear me talk about this on the game, I'm not sure it looks, I might pass on it because I want it to be clear. I don't want to guess that maybe the official missed something, or even maybe the official got it right without having those angles, because I assume going into this that every call was correct. That's my assumption. And I need to see video evidence to say that it wasn't. And if I don't have a camera angle that will prove it, I'm not going to use that to use for educational videos that we produce. So just know that. You might be like, oh, I think that would have, and if you're using the word think, then I'm probably not going to use it. And like I said, I'll point that out as we move along. All right, so let's get right to it. Let me get this game up. And like I said, I've never seen this game. This is a first for me. And it is a crew of 5. And now, just so you know, and obviously the game starts out with a kickoff. So starting out the game, I want to see where all the officials are. I want to see how this is going to be officiated with their crew of 5, because many states use different mechanics when it comes to the kickoff. So right now I've got an official on the kicking team restraining line. I have an official on the receiving team restraining line, which is good because that's the bare minimum. You want to make sure you see that. I'm also checking right now, how many players do I have on each side of the football? I've got 5 and 5, so I'm good. Because if I had 4, I might want to keep an eye on the 4 side in case they want to sneak a guy over prior to the kickoff going, and then that would create an illegal kicking formation. But right now we look good. Everything looks how we want it. So now we're going to run this play forward, and we're going to see what happens. Now the first thing I'm looking at right now is the restraining lines for both. So right there, I want to look at that real quick. It looks everybody's clean, all right? So we're good there. Everybody's clean on the receiver's restraining line. Now I'm looking at the officials at the goal line, and I want to see where this ball is caught. Right now we have a potential momentum situation. Now is that a momentum? And now we had a ball. Now you see that? Now that is a very interesting play right there. That would catch my eye. And the reason why is because that was a muff. That's a muff. And if that ball were to go into the end zone, that is still a kick, so it would be a touchback. So it doesn't look like it in this case, and like I said, we don't have the angle that's going to tell us that is that ball has crossed the plane or not. But that is one of those where I would be like, okay, I got to look at that. I want to see that again. Let's move it back. This one's going to be hard to kind of go precise on my stuff here. Unfortunately, I'm going to try to keep it with this viewer, not jumping around as much. So that's the thing on this one I'm looking at. All right, so he's got the muff. That's a muff. Did the kick ever end? No, the kick never ended. Good clock whine because we have legal touching, so that's a good clock whine. And now, all right, I'm just going to let it go. But I might take this play and talk about it because this is a good teaching point in regards to that this is still a kick. So this happened on this film. I'm looking at it at 13 seconds. And then I'm going to write a note that says kickoff muff. And that'll be mine to go back and look at this and potentially pull this play. Now that we're paused, let's look at the blocking. So I've got this little handy-dandy arrow thing I'm going to try to use just to kind of move through and show you what I'm looking at. All right, I want to look at the block here. I'm looking at this. Otherwise, I've got just players in space. But they may be issues moving forward. So let's continue on with the play. I've got a double team down there. That looks good. And now I have a potential issue at the top, but not really. I've got this one right here that I would be looking at. Let's see if I can move that here to the right. Maybe this one. This is okay right now. This is not the offense or the receiving team players in the wrong spot. There's not going to be a bad block there. There could be the kicking team player doing something illegal, but I'm not expecting that. I'm thinking this is our block here. I've got this block right here. We'll have to see where we're at. So let's keep rolling this play here. And now we're down. Okay. Now we have our official kill the clock. Excellent. So we're going to move on. Don't see anything extracurricular after the play. So now we're on to our first scrimmage play. here's the thing. This is now what I'm going to look at. I'm going to look at where the crew is. What are their mechanics? What are they using? Where's the ball? Ball's at the 10-yard line. So what does that tell me? That means the line or the goal line could potentially be threatened. And I'm going to see where the referee lines up here. Let's flip this. So I'm going to look at the referee because who's got the goal line? Referee most likely has the goal line. So I want to see where the referee lines up. And this is one of those plays where I might keep an eye on, especially if something happens. All right, we got a shotgun. Do we have 4 in the backfield? Yes, we do. Do we have 7 on the line? We only need 5 in high school, 50 through 79. Can't really tell from the angle, but it looks good. Everything looks good right now. The motion looks good. You can see the official at the top punching that player back, so he's got 4 in the backfield. Now, right away, this tells me I've got a pulling right tackle. Number 7, he's on the move. I've got the left tackle who's blocking down. So now I know this is probably going to be a run to the left. So this is where I'm going to be looking at. All right, nice block there. 77 looks good. I'm looking for big stuff, not small stuff. And here we go. All right, looking at the officials. We come across, nothing, easy yard. All right, this is a play that I'm good. I'm just going to move on. Nothing to write on this play, nothing to do. All right, so same thing. Looking at the formation. Now, I am questioning the wideout at the top. Is he in the backfield? Does look like he is. So that gives me 4 in the backfield. So I'm good. I can see the official kind of up about the MIBT.org or up there. He's punching back, so we're good. I don't really like the referee's position. I'll be honest with you. I'd like to see the referee a little bit out wider, but that's just me. I'm not going to really nitpick on that at this point because it doesn't really matter for what we're trying to do. All right. Here we go. We got the same play. It looks like the other way, though. So 57's the pulling lineman. Block there. That's a block that I want to look at. Right there at the point of attack. Looks okay. Just kind of a whoop-de-doo. Number 72, I want to look at that too. We're good. Umpire, hopefully he doesn't get run over. I'm looking up at the top now. I'm looking at the H at the top. Does he kill the clock for the first down? He does. Excellent work there. So now we've got the first down. Looks like he's marking it on a big line. Nothing extracurricular, nothing. We're moving on to the next play. Same thing. I'm looking at this. All right, I've got 4 in the backfield. I've got that wide out at the bottom of the screen. It's in the backfield, so we're good. It looks like this is a running team. They're doing the same play now. It's back to the left, basically. All right, nothing. We're good. Now I'm looking at the line judge at the bottom. See what he does is he put – now, one thing I would be critical on the line judge on this one is he does not put his hand in the air for the dead ball. Now, one thing we've always said is that you're not going to do that unless you see it dead, unless you see the ball is dead. But he did have his whistle in his mouth. I don't know if he blew it. But if at some point, if we do have a dead ball, we do need to signal that so that way the play clock can start appropriately. So if he doesn't see it, I'm okay with him not putting his hand in the air because if that ball is loose, he's got to know how it got there. All right, so nothing else on that. I don't see anything. Umpire gets the ball. Now we have a sub coming up at the top. Don't know if that's going to be an issue. We'll probably get the cut film before that. But just in case, I see 1 in, 1 out. They're going to let this one roll. The film isn't cutting. So we get the interval between the play, which is kind of cool because now you can see what everybody's doing. Now, another thing that I would have, and I want to go back just because I don't want to jump. The umpire had his back to the ball. I would recommend not having your back to the ball when you're coming off because they could snap that and now you don't know what's going on. So just that would be a suggestion. All right, here we go. Now everybody looks in position. We got the quarterback in shotgun. The other thing I like to look, where are they at in shotgun? Because if they are 10-yard shotgun formation, which happens from time to time, it could technically be a scrimmage kick formation, even on any down. This is not, but I want to verify that. I want to verify where my 4 players are in the backfield, as well as where the snapper, who's the person who's going to receive the snap. All right, here we go. Same thing. They like to do this. They're pulling 57. So now I'm going to look at those point of attack blocks. Everybody look at the feet. Now, I don't know if you can see this. I'm going to put this one at the top. This one would catch my attention. Let's roll this one around. This one I'm going to look at right here because look at the position of the offensive player. He's not in a good position in regards to making a block like this. So I'm going to look at that and see what happens. And I don't say that's a foul, but it's just a potential thing, and nothing. Film angle, there's nothing there. Now I'm moving to number 23. up at the top there. What type of block is that? Still nothing. I got nothing. Now, it looks like that this player is going to be tackled. So then I'm going to take my focus and move down towards the lineman, because I want to see if anybody's doing anything stupid. Like, does number 64, 72, or 65 actually right there take out number 22, and we miss it as officials? I'm looking at that. There's this, just because there doesn't seem to be anything going on. Now you look at this running back did break away a little bit and kept this play alive. So I'm going back to the top. I'm looking at the official. The H moves out of the way. Referee, good job, comes and cleans up. This is what we like. Like to maybe see a back judge coming in a little bit, but we don't have that camera angle. So now we're moving on to the next play. So now looking down in distance. It's 3rd and 10, so that's telling me we may finally see our first pass here. It's possible, not sure, but look where everybody's lined up. I'm also thinking, all right, if we're gonna see a pass, I want to watch the mechanics. All right, here we go. Oh, I was right. Now, pass blocking technique, so everything looks good. I'm not seeing anything weird. Top, we got down in the middle there. Everything's looking clear, and now we've got a sack. And now I'm looking at the bottom of the screen there. I don't know if you saw that. I don't know if I can move back here. I just don't want these things to jump. This is going to jump. All right. Look at the bottom of the screen at the end of this on the sack here. I just want a number 77 down there. All right. Look what he's doing. He's still blocking. He's over to the right of the screen now. All right, which is fine. That's all legal, but I want to keep an eye on it like that. What about that? I'm writing this one down because this might be one of those good polling play questions that we do. So I want to see what people, if they think that that's a UNR. Is that a possible UNR? That's something to discuss. Who's looking at it? Because there's a little bit of stuff going on there, and should we have a line judge come in maybe to help out, have a presence there? So this is one of the things I'm looking at there. All right, so that's good. I wrote that play down. You might see that play again. All right, 4th down. Scrimmage kick formation. This is our first scrimmage kick formation. We just did a video yesterday about scrimmage kick formations in regards to numbering exceptions. So now this is what I'm doing. I'm going to look and see the formation. Who's the end of the line of scrimmage? Who is in the slot? I don't know. It's kind of tough. It does look like that these let's look at this. These two I can't tell. Blade of grass here, 4th down. We're not necessarily going to split hairs on it. 1, 2, 3. This guy's probably on line. This is probably supposed to be slot, but I'm going to keep an eye on this and see what they do out of this and how it moves on through the game. So, looks like we got a timeout. So we're going to see what they do. They timeout on the defense. All right, excellent. So I wonder what happened there. All right, back there. Now we've got a change. You notice the change. This is a wacky formation. I'm writing this one down because this is going to be I don't care what happens on this play. This formation is going to be worth talking about. All right. So we're going to let this one play out and see what they do. All right, they shift it over. Now, when they do wacky stuff, it's got to be perfect. And I don't know still about that the receiver at the top there, the slot back. I don't know if he's on or off. So that's one of those where I'm gonna keep an eye on. But everything else looks all right. It might have been a little bit of a false start, but we're not going to split hairs on it. Looking at the blocking, clean kick, watch the kicker, nothing. Now, I'm looking at the H. He's moving down. Probably should have held just a second to make sure that ball got across, but I don't know their exact mechanics. So I'm looking for a back judge. Don't see it. Back judges seems to be out of the play here, which is good. Maybe keep it in an angle. I don't know if I would do that. I'd probably stay working middle out, inside out, because right now it's still a live ball and things can happen. They do goofy stuff like that. I probably would have still worked inside out on that one, but we've got the ball killed. Beanbag. See, that's one of my things is like, why drop the beanbag at that point? Everybody knows, just mark the spot, signal first down. I'm not going to write anything on it. It's just one of those things that if I was grading the crew, I might mention that. There's really no need for it. You already had the H marking the spot. So, all right, now we've got the other team with the ball. So we've not seen any of their offensive plays yet. So we're going to scrutinize. We're going to take a minute to look at what they're doing at first. All right, everything looks good. You got 4 in the backfield. You got 5 and then 7 on the line. Everything defense. Everybody looks lined up good. All right, set. We're waiting. 1st and 10. We see we know where our line of gain is. Perfect. All right, got a handoff up the middle. Yeah, there's a little bit interesting blocking going on there. I mean, this team, I will say, I have seen some of their other film through this year, and their blocking is interesting. So down here to the bottom, looks okay. Everything looks okay. That 18 there, number 25, that one would have my radar on. Whoops, look at that. It goes right there. The arrow goes right there. This one's got I have my radar on this one, because if there's a push right now, that potentially could be it, but that wasn't there. That's not a push. Now, right below where the running back is getting tackled, there's a couple things going on. We've got this action right here, and we got this action right here. And there's some other action going on. Possibly late, possibly something we want to keep on. And then that block down there at the bottom, is that too much? It's really close. So this is something I'm going to keep an eye on all game and see if this team continues to do stuff like that. But right now we're just going to move to the next down. I'm not even going to write this one down. We're going to move to the next down. All right, now it's 2nd and about 7. Formation looks good. Let's see what happens. Quarterback and shotgun drops back. We're setting up for a potential RPO. Now, here's another good one that I do like to sometimes run through on our meetings in regards to what, and I might even pull this play just because it's good to talk about mechanics. It's good, we've got trips to the bottom, trips to the left. Where's the back judge going? No competitive matchup. So we're probably going to zone, right, the snap. And who's looking at what? This is one of those good plays, because once the ball is snapped, now we see pass. Who's following who? A lot of times I think that the H at the top might be able to help a little bit with the tackle, because he's got nothing else going on. But he can't forget about what's going on downfield. It's one of those where you have to have your head on the swivel. Plus, you've got a running back coming at you who could easily get the ball thrown to him. And then if you're not aware of that, you're going to put yourself in a really bad position. So scrambling, looking down, we're all in zone. Hopefully our line judge and our back judge are focusing more on the 3 to the bottom. Our H is kind of looking at both, that one coming across, head on a swivel. Our back judge going back and forth. Now we got this throw downfield across the middle. And you know what? The camera moved too much. I'm not even going to go back and look at that. It could have been he's hurt. I'm not sure. But the camera moved too much. I already know I'm not going to get a good shot on that. So I don't want to go look at it, because, like I said at the beginning of this, I want these shots to be clear. I want everybody to know exactly. I don't want people guessing, because we don't learn anything from that. All right, next play. We got bounce formation, no competitive matchup at the snap, pass, quarterback. Oh, it's a draw. All right, so if it's a draw, this is good, because I want to look at my linemen. I want to see what they're doing, but it doesn't matter. Tackle for a loss. Now looking for extracurricular at the end. Don't see it. We're moving on to the next play. Nothing going on. Perfect. All right, 4th down. So now I've got this punting form, first time they punt. Everything looks good. It looks like they got the 2 slots in the backfield. They've got the up back, and they've got the kicker. But this is something that I want to look at. Where is that kicker? Where is the kicker? This is one of those where I am going to pull. Let me hopefully I didn't jump back too much here. Let's go back. Let's see if we can't get to that play. Oh, come on. All right, sorry about that. Like I said, doing it this way is a little different for me. All right, let's move forward. We're going to just go back to this play here, because I want to get back to that kick. I want to get back to that. So this was that play where I'm like, I didn't have the angle. Was that a potential illegal hit? I don't have the angle. I'm not going to deal with that. All right, and then the next one, this is the draw play. Here's the draw play. All right, now this is what I want. I'm going to pause this because it was a quick edit or a quick cut by the film people. All right, we're going to wait till it gets there. 4th down, pause. All right, tell me, if any of you are out there, it's fun. This is a fun, tell me what is wrong with this. There is something wrong with this. All right, it's not a legal scrimmage kick formation. Why is it not a legal scrimmage kick formation? We literally just talked about this. Where is the punter? The punter is not 10 yards. He's not 10 yards. He's at 8. So why does that matter? I wrote it down. Scrimmage kick formation. Because this is one of those where we would have to talk about. We would have to figure it out because do we have numbering exceptions in the game? Because we're not in a legal scrimmage kick formation. Is the center protected? This is a great play. We're going to talk about this. I guarantee you'll see this play again. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Little quick kick there. Looked like they didn't have numbering exceptions, so we're fine. All right, oh, did you see that block there? Uh-oh, got to go back to that one. So I'm at 355. Let's see if I can't get back to that. 354. Perfect. All right, now look at that receiving team player right there. This has got my radar. I'm looking at that. That's a potential. All right, what do we got? Was that enough? Nope. I don't know if it was. Here's the deal. I don't have the camera angle. I would have to see the end zone shot. I'm not sure if he hit him or not. It looked bad from this shot, but until I get the other angle, we're passing on it. I got nothing. So we're just moving on. All right, nothing. I didn't see weird fair catches or anything like that. Still, our back judge is like out in left field, literally. All right, now, here we go. They've been running the same formation the whole game. They're shifting. So now this is another thing that's interesting. This is where I think people might get confused with that new rule we talked about earlier. All right, let's go. It was 4:15, 4:10. All right, so the center does have his hands on the ball, but it doesn't matter if it's not a numbering exception issue. This is all still legal. So with that player if he was covered or not, it doesn't matter. This is a legal shift. Everybody who's on the end wearing a legal number or a back who's wearing a legal number, they remain eligible throughout this entire down. There's nothing weird on this one. All right? So it looks like everybody's set. For a second, we're good there. Same play that they've been running. This guard pulling or tackle pulling. All right, I don't see anything. We're moving on to our next one. Guys, we're only 4 minutes into this 52-minute video, and I've been talking for 28 minutes. Go figure. This stuff takes a long time. I'm being a little bit more deliberate, obviously, to let everybody know what I'm thinking. So this will start to pick up a little bit. All right, here we go. Same formation, same play. Blocking has been pretty good so far. All right, got first down. We kill the clock. Nice work. Doesn't look over shoulder. I love it. Puts it on a big line. I'm happy with that because it was in between. Nobody knows, but maybe the line judge, up. There we go. Line judge and the H were having some differences on opinion on forward progress, and the umpire didn't know what to do. Once again, I'm pointing that out here. I take a mental note of it, but I'm not going to write it down. It's not that important. All right, legal formation, yes. Here we go. Let's see what happens. All right, same thing. Up the right side. I don't see anything weird. Nice play. Forward progress wasn't stopped. H kills the clock. First down. Chains move. Looking good. We'll move on to our next play. Nothing to note there. All right, here we go again. A little quicker now. All right, now we got a quarterback out in space. We're looking at our open field blocking. We're good. All right, was that? Okay, now this is one of those where from a mechanical side, I might actually talk about. Let's go back to that here real quick. All right, let's see if we can't do this one. All right, that was the previous play. So let's go through this play a little bit better, and I am going to mark this one down. All right, we're at 5:12 on my film, and I'm just going to put mechanics because I want to see this one again. I want to go back and look at it. You know, it's a fake to the right. They've been running this play all game, and guess what? Here it comes. As officials, we need to be ready for this as well. We need to be ready for that because they've been running this all night. All right, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. What's going to happen down here? All right, nothing. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Our tackle looks good. The tackle starts inbounds. Is this a little extracurricular? But now we need to get there and clean it up. Now, I know a lot of people do this. The line judge drops his bag at the spot. I am not a fan of this because you have a back judge coming over, and if you think you need to get there, fine, but he doesn't even really go there. If you're going to go there hard, and then if you got to drop your bag. Just the other thing is you can just remember what the number is of the spot. But in the end, we might talk about this one just because if you're going to do it, if you do drop your beanbag, and make sure you use it. Make sure you go and then go there. Just don't drop it to drop it. All right, here we go. Next play. We're getting close to the goal line, so I'm going to look at the back judge because this is that no man's land when it comes to when we have when we have the ball is at the 15-yard line. Who's got the goal line? The back judge still has the goal line in most mechanics. So this is one of those where I'm going to start concentrating on that. Formation looks good. Looks like we got that same play. Quarterback has been running that fake. Now, if I'm the referee and I see that quarterback running the fake, looks like 77 got a little chippy there at the end. Let's go back and look at. Before I do that, though, if I'm the referee in this game, I'm going to continue to watch that action on that boot, that naked boot or whatever, the fake, because if number 9 is acting as a running back, the quarterback, then he is free game. But if it's clearly he doesn't have the ball, then we need to, I don't want to say protect him, but we need to definitely know what happened. All right, so we're good there. Now watch that 77 here. All right, that one looks okay, but I don't think that one looks okay. All right, I'm telling you right now, you let that type of stuff. This is another one you might see again on one of our films, because if you let that type of stuff start to go, you might have a bad day, because now they may retaliate or everything's going to be right on the edge. So we're just going to write that one down. We'll dive into that one more later once we have our meeting. And you might, like I said, you may see that again. All right, now same thing. Where are we at? We're at the 12-yard line. Most mechanics would still have this as a line of, or I'm sorry, the back judge's goal line, but it's kind of in between. So I'm going to concentrate a lot on the goal line if it gets there. I also have a line to gain over there, so I want to know that. All right, nice little sweep. I'm looking at blocking. Everything looks okay. Even if it was questionable, I don't have the angle. 70. See, look what he did again. Look what 77 did again. I am telling you, you don't get this. It's going to get. And now look at that. See, this is where this leads. All right. So, all right, I'm going to mark that down, because, like I said, it can escalate. All right, moving on. Like I said, we'll break these down way more. I'll give everybody a chance to do the Slido polls and see where everybody's at. Listen to what Bill Lamagna or Mike Billica or Robbie Barr have to say. All right, next play. 3rd down, line of gain, goal line. Now, we are inside 10, so most mechanics have the line of scrimmage officials going to the goal line or responsible for the goal line. So I'm looking at that, but nobody goes to the goal line. And watch, the goal line will probably be threatened. Well, it doesn't look like. All right, so nothing on this play. Moving on to our next play. Still, we got line of gain. We got goal line. Line of scrimmage looks to be about the 8 now, so we know our next line of scrimmage is going to be the 8. And we have a 4th down. So what does that mean? A possible field goal attempt. But nope, they're not going to do it, and they must not have a good kicker. All right, now, these plays are big. This is a big play. I would take my time if I'm reviewing a film to look at this play a little bit more, scrutinize a little bit more, because things can happen. All right, we don't have a play clock. We don't know how long it's take. We don't care. Here we go. All right, looks like a run. All right, I got 1st down. But who's at the goal line? This is where the goal line. Uh-oh. What do we got? I don't know. Looks like we ruled a touchdown. Now, because I can't see the officials, this is a tight play. Somebody had to be there. I might write it down just to go back and look at it again. Just because. So I wrote it down because it might be a good one to talk about mechanics with being 4th down and the goal line. Good one to talk about. Oh, swinging gate. Now, this is where that new rule would come into play, potentially, but they shifted too much. I don't know if the quarter or the center had his hands on the ball, and they're going to just run a regular field goal anyways, or try attempt, I should say. And here we go. Looks good. No, it's not. All right. Let's move through it. We could go through more on mechanics, but we're not. We'll go to our next play. It's moving through. We see what we got. All right, kickoff again, 40-yard line. Everything looks good here. Looking for blocks. Uh-oh, what happened there? That's a good call. The player was down. I don't know if everybody saw that. We'll go back to it here. He slipped. The receiving team player slips. Knee down. We kill it. Now, this one would be a wind and a kill, but they got it. Looking extracurricular, nothing. All right, here we go. 1st and 10. I've got shotgun where everything looks good here. What do we got? All right. Good play, nothing. Looking at mechanics, nice job. Referee cleaning up. I like it. Getting the ball ready. This is awesome. This is good work, actually. This is nice work. Ball's ready for play. It's down within less than 10 seconds after the ball was dead. Love it. All right, trips to the bottom. This would be a good mechanic play, potentially. But it ends up being a fake and then a pass up the middle. Now, look at our back judge. This is one of those where what's going to happen now? He's in a race. I will pull this play because what is this back judge doing? He's not officiating. He's trying to race to the goal line. At some point, we're going to get beat by this high school kid, okay? So we just should widen out and then officiate and know that we're not going to win that race just because we're not. So I'm writing that one down because I want to talk about that. And like I said, it's not being critical of the official. The official's doing the best he can. He's doing a good job. But it's just something to make us better. It's something that we're all better. And then he spun the ball. Uh-oh. I don't know if you saw that. Spun the ball with the dance. That's another one we're going to talk about. All right, potential UNR there. Excellent. All right, moving on. Extra point. Oh, I love these new LED lights too. You know, like they play the disco lights, you know, and then it's like I can barely see, especially when they're wearing black jerseys. But luckily they turn it back on before the play. All right, same thing. Like this is one of those where if the center puts his hands on the ball, it locks people in, but doesn't look like they have any number exceptions anyway at this point. So here we go. We've got a try attempt. Everything looks good. Nothing weird. We're moving to the kickoff. Awesome. All right, see, we're only still in the first quarter. All right, here we go. Let's see. We've got good lineup on the kicking team. Looking at the line, looks good enough. Not a pane of glass on this one. Uh-oh. Now this is a good one. I love this call. If it's close, it broke the plane. This is a great call. Don't mess around with this one. This is a good one. I'm going to write it down because I think it is excellent. I like it. Okay, touchback. Awesome. All right. That's how this is where I get. This is what I do. All those films you see, all those clips you see, this is where I get this. All right. Now, awesome. 20. Now, remember, they can put the ball anywhere, but we don't know. We don't know how the mechanics went with the crew, but it's in the middle. A lot of times we default to the middle. Now, I'm assuming the player at the top is in the backfield because the H is punching him back, so we're good there. And I don't care because I don't have the film to prove anything else. Now, this is a little different play, showing a pass. Now, this is where that swing out receiver and holding the line really helps on this one. So good job. Nothing really. We're moving on. Everybody's cleaning up, looking good. All right, another legal formation. Now they're back up, but they run the fake now. They run the fake with the quarterback. Out of bounds, looking for cleanup, making sure I should see a back judge over there. There he is, a little bit late, but we want to make sure we have that presence. Looks good. We're moving to the next one. Didn't see anything crazy. All right, encroachment, but I can't tell. Well, Tim, wasn't that encroachment? It might have been, but I don't have the film angle to tell me, so we're not even going to worry about it. All right, here we go. Looking at my quarterback, where they're at. Excellent. Everything looks legal. Blocks look okay. Running play, no problem. We mark. We move on. Perfect. Let's see what we got. Excellent. Put it down. Oh, he helps him. I am gonna talk about that one. I'm gonna write that one down. I don't know if you saw that. The L helped the player snap his helmet back on. And I want to talk about that sometime about is that a good thing to do or not, because we live in a legal age today. So we'll talk about that some other time. I wrote that one down. We might see that one again. All right, here we go. Nothing. Nothing. Clean play. Move to the next one. Third down. We're going to third down. That's the other thing. It's like we're not talking about it, but something to think about the when does the box move? When do you want to move? Does he move too early? When we get these little longer film clips in between plays, we can kind of see how the chain crew's working. And as we know, the chain crews can kill us sometimes, but here we go. To the left, nothing. We're good. Good block. Point of attack blocks. Everything looks good. Show me you should be killing the clock. All right. Put the ball down. 1st and 10. Maybe it'll be on a big line. Maybe it won't. Looks like it's not. No problem. 1st and 10 at the 49. Legal formation. Blade of glass. See, when we get this angle, though, this is when I'm going to start scrutinizing formations a little bit more because we have a better camera angle. We can prove some things now, at least on formations. And if somebody were to encroach or something, we can definitely have a better shot of this. But blade of grass, I'm good with this formation. Let's see what happens. Back to that running play. Drop behind the line. Nothing there. Nothing there. Just going to move on. But I am looking for extracurricular after some of the stuff we've seen already in this game. Don't see it. All right, here we go. We've got this good formation. Once again, we got a great camera view for this one at the 50. Now, when they throw these types of passes, my radar does go up again. I want to see if one's blocking. Does one block before the ball gets there? But it's got to be clear. We're not splitting hairs on that. And I want to see if everybody's is behind the expanded neutral zone, which is clearly that looks like it. So, no, everything's good. Incomplete pass. Nothing. But these are just things that come that pop out to me when I'm looking at these clips. All right, we'll move on to the next play. Looks good. I'm good with the formation. Pass play. Looking at pass blocking. We're good. Now I'm going to look to the left before I'm going to stop. Look to the left. Look everything downfield. Everybody's running in space except for maybe just past the 50. So let's see. Nope, we're all good. Running in space. Back to the blocking. Blocking looks good. We got a pass down the middle. Now, this is where I'm going to concentrate. Do we have any? Looks like we've got a pick. Now, this is a great play because now we're reverse mechanics. A lot of stuff can happen on these types of plays. In fact, I think the majority of the crazy plays you've seen at MIBT have probably been on returns. All right, let's look at that block. Let's look at that. We're looking for blindside block. Nothing. Close. Nothing. Someone coming across the top because the play's still alive. Nothing. Tackle. We're good. All right, we're going to move on to the next play, and we'll make sure everybody clears out, and good job. They're all getting congratulated for their interception. Excellent. All right, here we go. We got a good formation. Trips to the top, passing, blocking technique. I've got 81 to the bottom. I've got the 3 to the top. No competitive matchups, but if I'm the back judge, I see the quarterback looking 81. Doesn't mean I'm going to forget about the one across from the right side if I'm the back judge, but I'm thinking they may be throwing that way. And now, this is a great play. This one's getting written down because it looks like that quarterback is throwing the ball away, but there was some contact by the offense. There was some potential blocking. So this one I'm writing this one down because I want to come back to this play. You may see this one again. This is one of those you might see again. All right. Because, like I said, we're not here to debate the calls right now. I'm here just to get the clips, but you may see it again. All right, here we go. Let's see what we got. And, it's funny because then you can make your own decision already. If you are an MIBT subscriber, which we recommend, go do it right now if you haven't. $79 a year, you get access to hundreds of clips, searchable library. You don't want to miss it. You'll see this one again. All right, next play. What do we got? We got blocking. We're good. Over the middle, wide open, and off to the races. Now, back judge a little bit better this time, widen out, and holding the ball out there, that's not bad because you never know. Doing something weird with the ball. Now, it's funny. I don't know. They could do flips and twists and all this. We wouldn't see it because of the disco lights. But, I could maybe write that one down to talk about, to just as a good thing of not calling that a UNR just for holding the ball out, trying to break the plane, but we're just going to move on. All right, waiting for the disco lights to end, going to the try. There we are. All right, lined up in our formation. Looks good. Ball's away, no contact, nothing weird. On to the kickoff. You can see this game is becoming a little bit, it's not lopsided, but it's we'll see what happens. All right, here we go. All right, kickoff, looking down. All right, now we're looking at blocks. So what I would do is I'd run that again because I went through it pretty quick. I'd want to run that kickoff again. I want to see where we're at. I want to see my blocks. I'm stopping. I'm looking at blocks because there was a potential block there. But nothing that's jumped up. There's something that jumped out at the end. All right. That's something to keep an eye on because of what's been happening in this game as we've seen. All right. So I'm going to write that one down because I want to go back to it and discuss it. I don't know. That one, maybe you'll see again, maybe not. But it's just more for me to write down so I can go back and look at it in this game. All right, here we go. 1st and 10. Formations are good. Blocking looks good. Little action downfield. I'm going to let that one go. Oh, we got our flag. This is our first flag of the game. All right, let's go back. 14. All right, let's see. All right, let's try that again. I want to go back. All right, here we go. Here's our first flag of the game. Like I said, this was kind of getting a little chippy, and I think the referee finally said enough. All right, so everything looks good. And then what happened? 77. There's our guy. They finally got it. I love it. They finally got it. All right, so let's see what happens. Now, this is another good one. This is a penalty enforcement one. This is one that we can talk about in regards to when does this foul occur? That's the huge thing. That's what we have to figure out because it's going to affect the penalty. Because not the 15 yards. The 15 yards is going to be the 15 yards, but did the down count? And that's important to know. And you can see the referee is looking at 2nd down. This is all good stuff. This is stuff that everybody thinks we bash officials, but sometimes we want it. This is good. This was good that how this crew is handling this right now. And make sure it's 2nd down. Make sure everybody's on the same page. I love it. You'll probably see this one again. Great job. All right, here we go. We're looking at it. Formation's good. 2nd down. Changing the play. All right, we got a running play, nothing. All right, perfect. We'll move on to the next one. See, a lot of this is a lot of nothing, folks. Sorry, sometimes this is what this is about. And we're only 15 minutes into this game, and the game was 52 minutes. And we've been going for almost an hour, 48 minutes. This is what I do, folks. This is what makes this job fun. This also is what makes us better. This is what makes me better. That's why I love doing it, because it does make me better. Oh, we got the quarter. So we are now finally in the 2nd quarter. Only 45 minutes into this. Excellent. All right. Looking at the formation, got trips to the top, a bunch, fake. So this is one that, all right, this is a good one because if there's that contact there, if there was contact, would that have been DPI? This is one of those good rule questions. I don't know if it was, it's very clear that there wasn't anything, but it might be a good one to discuss from a rule standpoint. All right, 4th down. Here we go. Now, I do want to look at something real quick because I am curious about something. So let's go back. This is the type of stuff. All right, so I was curious about the previous spot. And they got the previous spot right. I was like, for some reason, I was thinking it might have been in the middle, but it wasn't. So I went back and checked. No, they put it back in the right spot. All right, here we go. Did you see that at the top? Did you see that at the top? This is a good one. Let's go back. This was the previous play, but that's okay. It's going to jump to our 4th down play. Now we're going to focus in on the top, and this is one I will write down. I'm going to pull up my little arrow here and show you. I want you to focus right here. And this is one of those why we're going to talk about this is because we do a lot of preventative officiating, obviously, but we want to be careful of that because look what he does. And then they snap the ball. What do we do in that situation? This is a great one to talk about. You'll see this one again. All right, what's going on? I didn't see a fair catch. I didn't see anything. I might have missed it. I'll look at it again, though, when I look at the formation thing. All right, moving on. Looking extracurricular, nothing, easy. Now we're ready to go to our next play. Formation. See, that's one we can see, and they call encroachment. I will not write this down because it was a simple encroachment call. Both got it. Both officials got it. Easy enough. Moving on. 0-2-0. Nice job, man. This is what you want to do. Nice 0-2-0 communication. Let's just go. We don't need to waste time. Love it. All right, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Hand up off the middle. Nothing. Killing the clock. Could square it off a little bit better, but we're okay. All right. Good formation. The receiver's checking. I love it. We've told them 2 in the back, 1 on the end. A little handoff, a little loop-de-doo, fake handoff up the middle. Blocking looked good. On to our next one. All right, formation looks good. Now we're not going to have as good of a shot of the formations based off of the camera angle. Checking the play. All right, we've got formation still good. No competitive matchups at the snap, so we're good. Handoff up the middle. Blocking looks good. Looking. And a little weird stuff there on the left. We're going to let that go. Moving on to the next. All right. Let's see what we got. Good formation. Passing play. Uh-oh. Did you guys see what I saw? And this was a potential touchdown play. All right, let's go to 17. We're going to back it up. I want to go here and look at this. All right, that was a previous play. We're good there. Now, let's look at this play. I'm going to write this one down. Like I said, we're not here right now to break it down and spend a long time on this stuff. But we are here to get better, so I've already wrote a lot down, which is crazy. I got to go to back page. All right, 1656. All right, here we go. Now, why is this important? Why would this play be important? Is this the running play? This might even been the running play that we had before. Well, let's see. If it is, we'll go this is the running play. All right, it's the next play. All right, so I got to change my time. 17:14. All right, this is the good one. All right, formation is good. Now, we've got pass blocking. All right, where's our line of scrimmage? I'm telling myself I've got the 19. So that means linemen can go to the 17. All right, that's what I'm saying. They can go to the 17 if this is a pass play. All right, I'm looking. Now, I've got a lineman. I don't know if you can see him. He's engaged, but this one's going to be close. We don't split hairs on these a lot of times, and it's when the ball goes in the air. See, that's what's good. When it's where that player is when the ball is released. So we're good. I'm good with this, but it's one to check, especially on plays like this. So we're good with that. And now we just got to drop. He had a touchdown. That was wide open. All right. Looked like our back judge was on the goal line, but that's why I went back. So we're good there. It's a good one to discuss as from a mechanic side, who's looking at that. So I wrote that down because you might see that one again. All right. Let's see what we've got. We're good. Trips to the top. Blocks are good. Looking at the action. Goal line threatened by a receiver. Now, if I was at H, I don't know why I'm running. I'd still be holding if I was him. But that's okay because he can still throw the ball. 7 can still throw the ball like up to this point. So hopefully our line judge is still there because we would need to know that. So I'm just saying. All right, good blocks. Looking for this player who's in the offensive player in the end zone coming back because we could have something there. Now, you can see what our back judge is doing. Mechanic might be a little nitpick. I would like to see him, if he's going to do that, if he's going to help out, he's going there. I don't know if he's giving forward progress or not, but it sure looks like our L is giving forward progress in a different spot. So I want to go back and look at that. So let's go back and look at that. All right, here we go. Let's go back and look at that again because I want to see where that spot was. And, not that it's huge in this situation, but it's kind of important. So where's he down? That's a good spot. And I don't know if our back judge was trying to say that he was going, it's hard to tell here. But RH nailed it. I like that spot. We're good to go. But just wanted to check it out. Awesome. All right. Now, let's look at what we got here. Goal line. We should be moving to the goal line. We want to be there because we have plays like this. But close enough for now. We've already talked about this. This is one of those where, like I talked about earlier, I'm not going to, we've got plenty of plays on that, so I don't necessarily need another one. Good pass. Now, this is one of those where I'm looking across the middle. Right now, I want to see what's happening across the middle because we got a potential pick. But no, it looks like everybody runs through it. Got nothing to the corner, and that's good. Nothing. I could pull it, but not really worth it. Pretty simple, pretty easy play. Third down. See what happens. All right. Quarterback has the ball. Uh-oh. There is one that we want to look at. 18. Let's go back and look at this play again. This is one that we want to look at as a suspect. You notice I said suspect. I didn't say it was. Suspect illegal blindside block. Because what happens when we have these type of plays? That's where normally we'll get those illegal blindside blocks and these scramble weird plays. So right here, this peeling back, guy who's peeling back right here, okay? Suspect. It's tight. It's one to talk about, though. Who's watching it? I'm not saying it is. Now, this is another good one. That quarterback started to run, and then he came back. I want to know who's downfield. There's a lot of stuff going on down there. Uh-oh. This is a great play. You will definitely see this play again. There is no doubt in my mind you will see this play again, not only because of the potential illegal blindside block, but there is some other stuff that's happening on this one. All right? I'm going to play it one more time because it's like I want to jot notes to see like how much stuff. All right? So where are our linemen? 76 up there. I don't know if you see him. 76 is tight. He's bring my little arrow here. Right there. I think that's 76. Who knows? He's tight. All right? And he's on the ground. Our line of scrimmage, he's probably right at the 2. And now he's on the ground. I don't know if you want to call that. But it's definitely tight, especially since our guy comes back. Now, all this action that's going on, I'm looking for illegal action. We got a lot of receivers in the same spot. And it looks like a lot of hand fighting. Doesn't look anything. But I want you to look at those receivers who are by the pylon. Now, we have that. Here's the thing. Oh, this is a great play. Look at what the L is looking at. Look at where the L is looking. Oh, we're talking about this play for sure. Because it looks like we potentially could have had a player step out of bounds there, an offensive player, on his own. Was he forced? I don't know. But nobody sees it. All right, and now we've got this tight pylon play. Oh, this is a great play. You will definitely see this play again. And this is what I'm talking about. I don't give a crap about the officials and how they officiate. This is a great play to talk about. All right. All right, and our disco time. And more. All right. Field goal attempt. We're good, nothing. All right, moving on. Let's see what happens next. Oh, 9 minutes in the second quarter. I'm running out of gas, guys. I don't know how long I'm going to be able to keep going. All right. Kickoff. Uh-oh. All right, good. Because if we would have had momentum there better be a beanbag on the ground. You know what? I am going to write that one down because that's a good one to talk about, that if we do have momentum, we better have a beanbag. And they didn't, which is fine, which is, once again, I do like that. I think it should be a touchback. So wrote it down, moving on to the next one. Not seeing anything. Maybe a little across the middle. See? That's it. Oh. All right, I don't know if you guys saw that. Let's go back. 19. Look down at the bottom there. See what's going on? This is where we have to have presence. That's where we have to have presence in the game, especially in a game that it's getting a little chippy. So suspect, UNS. All right, we'll go back and look at that later. You may see that one again. Blocks are good. Formation was good. Don't care because I can't really tell anyways from this camera angle. All right, moving on to the next one. Nothing going on. Like I said, I don't know if you guys heard at the beginning, I said it could take 20 minutes or 2 hours. Looks like this one's taking 2 hours. There's a lot going on. Nah, nothing there. That's how this works for me, guys. I can run through these games sometimes quick and sometimes not. Just depends on the players, man. That's why they play them. You never know. All right, scrimmage kick formation. This one looks like it's good. There are numbering exceptions in the game. Good to know. All right, he catches it on the run. This is where this sometimes can get a little goofy, but I don't see anything. All right, moving on. Once again, where's our back judge, man? He's like in this game's from Michigan. I think he's in New York. All right, here we go. Uh-oh, can't tell. Not going to do anything. Don't have the right camera angle for that. All right, here we go. Good, good. No competitive matchups. Now I'm looking at up to the top. Back judge moving good. You know, this is one of those that says I am going to mark down because this sucks. This sucks in 5-person because at some point the back judge has to basically choose a line. I think he chose the right one, but he needs to lock in. We'll talk more about that. All right, let's go here. Trips to the bottom. Right, run to the left. Everything looks good. No blocks coming across. In or out? In or out? Great job. This is a good job. Wind kill. I don't know what your mechanics are across the country, but I'm okay with that. Wind kill because he's in, especially if it's late in the half. All right. Good, good, good. This is a tough one. This is a tough one. You will see this one again from a goal line standpoint of how we handle this. Once again, I'm not really concerned about how the officials on the field handled it. I want to talk about how we're going to handle it in our meeting. So you will see that one again most likely. Because goal line is where the points are scored, right? It's a big deal. This is a tough play. These are tough plays in 5-person mechanics. Let me tell you, they are tough. Yeah, I know I move away from the mic, guys. Thank you, though. Yeah, I go like, oh, I'm right down here. Yeah, I do. I know. I got to write it. I got to move away from the mic. But I appreciate the heads up. All right, here we go. Let's see. We've got the field goal. Try attempt, I should say. Nothing, nothing, nothing. All right, moving on to our next play. All right, 6:21 in the second quarter. We got a kind of a route kind of starting to set up here. All right, kickoff is good. We're good on the kickoff. This one's not even close, so I don't care. Looking at blocks, checking blocks. Down at the bottom, he's like, what's up? No, you're good. All right. Let's move through. Legal. Nothing. Second down. We're on our way to second down. All right. Up the middle. We got to run. I don't see. Yeah, that's 77, man. 77. He didn't learn his lesson the first one. But nothing there. All right. We're good. Third down. We're up the middle. Everything looks good. Killing the clock. Move the chains. 1st and 10. We know that. Another thing is I pause it. We know that we are getting close to the end of the half. We're probably about 5 minutes, 4 minutes now. Something to just keep in mind. You could start to see some different stuff. There's some extracurricular stuff. I'm going to keep an eye on that, but I'm going to move on. I already got enough marked down for that here in this game. All right. This is a good one. This is a play that I would kind of keep an eye out to start because it's 2nd and 5, and it's big line. So this is telling me if we do have an encroachment, this should be 5 will get us 1. This is a good mechanic. We don't have that, but I was thinking that. All right. And look at 77 again. Back judge comes in with it. All right, let's go back. Let's go and look at that again. See what we got. All right, I'm writing down now. I'll try to stay by the mic so you can hear me because I got to write down the time. All right, UNR B. All right, here we go. It's like I said, Now, that one, I don't know. He's done a lot. That's a tough one. But, hey, I've seen worse, but this is time. This is one of those where it's time to rein it in a little bit. Okay, once again, this is important. This is important because you see the down box. See the box that's going different downs. You got to be real careful on that. If you got box people, they have to make sure you don't do this because this could screw us up, especially since this is possibly a dead ball foul. It is so important that we don't mess this up. And they got it right earlier, and third down. So we're going to third down, but I feel, chain guys, you got to be up. And I'm sure somebody's asking that question right now. What down is it? And look at the box. Look at what the box says. Oh, my. See? This is big, guys. Hopefully we are all saying 3. Somebody has to fix this. All right, you will see this again. There's no doubt in my mind you will see this play again because this is where it gets us in big trouble. All right, here we go. Boom, 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 boom. Nothing. All right, so what down is it now? What down? See? What down is it? This is why it's so important to be on it. They got it right. It's fourth down. But see how the confusion? And see, now the team's like, what do you mean it's fourth down? And they ran a second down play. Oh, man, this is one of those. This is where I think sometimes it does really, we can get ourselves in trouble. So you will definitely see this play again, and this will be a good one to talk through how we prevent ourselves from getting caught in this. I'm going to put and more. And sometimes I'm not moved away from the mic. I'm just talking softly when I'm writing. All right, moving on, fourth down. And now I wouldn't be surprised if they call a timeout to argue this, and this is why that communication is so important. All right, let's just see what happens. We're going to roll it through here. All right. Fourth down. And thank goodness, if this happens, don't give them a delay a game, but we'll talk about that some other time. All right. Formation. Kind of goofy. It's kind of goofy. It's really goofy. So we're going to write this one down too because when they run formations like this, make them be perfect. All right, 25-40, SK formation. All right, a lot in this game, guys. A lot of good stuff. It's good. Now I don't delay a game. If they're doing all this garbage, you helped them out before. If they don't get it on the delay, maybe they want the delay because we're there. I don't know. All right, here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Uh-oh, at the top. I don't know if you guys saw that at the top. We're going to jump it back here real quick. Right at the top. I want you to look at this. This is something that I'm going to probably talk about at some point. All right? Because look what happens. What is that? Is it nothing? Is it something? Maybe it's nothing. But it's definitely somebody's got to have eyes on it. All right? Boom, boom, boom. Now we got nothing. Yeah. We're all good. Moving on to our next play. 1st and 10. We're getting close to the end of the half here. See, there's a little junk going on. A little bit of junk going on. We want to make sure we're staying on top of that. All right. Here we go. All right. Screen. So we're going to go back and look at that one. 26. This is the punt. This is the punt play. Everybody's getting a little mad at each other. Let's kind of go back to look at it. It's just kind of like little words being exchanged. And we need to have presence there. So we'll talk about that one. We'll talk about that as well. Look at like little goofy stuff. All right. Now, why is the screen important? Because where's the ball caught? We need to know this. This is important, all right, because it can change the effect of this down. Where is this ball caught? Line of scrimmage. Line of scrimmage is a 41. It's caught right at the 41, which is good. But do we know that, all right? So that's why this is a good play to talk about, because from a mechanic side of things, knowing where we're at and what we're looking at. So mechanics on screen, all right? We'll talk about that later. More, nothing. All right, moving through. Killing the clock, 1st down. I'm curious where we're at on time. Oh, we got an I called it. That is the, okay, I'm not going to say anything. You will see that play again. All right, here we go. He's down. All right. That was an interesting call. I'm going to be thinking about that one. I'm glad I wrote it down. All right. Boom, boom, boom. We're good. You can tell. I think they're just running out the half. Maybe not. Here we go. Good. See, now, line just looks across. He should know. Are we killing the clock or not? All right. Blitz. Going down. All right. Let's see what happens. Next play. All right. Looks like nothing. Kind of a broken play. We'll move on to the next one. Motion. Kind of a loop-de-doo, fun play. Pass behind the line of scrimmage. I may write this one down. This might be another good one to talk about in regards to just mechanics, because this is a lot going on. Like I said, I'm not saying the crew's done anything wrong on this. It's a good one to talk about. Best practices, that type of stuff. Fourth down. Fourth down, where are they at? Late in the half. Are they going to go for? They're going to go for all the marbles. This line of gain is really important here. Looks like you got it. All right, see they're running because they're running out of time. This is where we want to be efficient. We want to move with a purpose, but we don't want to hurry. All right? Down, no issues. Okay. Oh, we're setting up for a field goal. Defense looks like they might have had bad numbers, but we can't tell. We didn't see the beginning of it, so we're letting it go. Looks like this is a field goal attempt, and it's no good. So field goal attempt, no good. Did they let the clock run out? They sure did. That looked like a lot of time on that. But you know what? That's what we're doing. We're going to halftime, and guess what? I'm going to halftime. This was an hour for a half. So, I appreciate everybody who's a subscriber to MIBT. We did this for free because I wanted to show people what we do, what I do to prepare for these meetings, prepare to make you the best officials possible for your $49, $79 a year. And you saw it took me a half an hour, for a half of the game, it took me over an hour. We do this all the time. Now, I was talking and stuff like that, and I probably wouldn't do that if I was really doing this. But I wanted to give everybody a piece of what we do and how intense and how we scrutinize and how we try to present the best plays possible. So I hope you got something out of this a little bit. Understand, we're going to do this again. I will do this again. I don't know about once a week, but maybe in a couple weeks I'll do it again. And maybe we'll get through a whole game instead of just a half because it won't be so much. I'm going to show you. I was writing down this stuff. This is like the one thing I was writing down my notes. Here's my other notes. I was running out of page. So anyway, I appreciate everybody who took the time. Hey, email me. Let me know. Or I see somebody, Henry, thank you for the information. And I think Albert said hi too. So hi, you guys. Let me know. Email me if you were out there, if this is worth it, if you got something out of it, and or comment because everybody can watch this later, and we'll do it again. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm Tim Kiefer, and we'll catch you next time. So long, everybody.